Frederic Seagal is an American actor, film producer, screenwriter, film director, martial artist, Aikido instructor, musician, reserve deputy sheriff and entrepreneur, a 7th Dan black belt in Aikido. Seagal began his adult life as a martial arts instructor in Japan, becoming the first foreigner to operate an Aikido dojo in the country. He later moved to Los Angeles, California, where he worked as a martial arts instructor on Never Say Never Again, accidentally breaking actor Sean Connery's wrist during production. In 1988, Seagal made his acting debut in Above the Law. By 1991, he had starred in 4 successful films. He achieved further fame in 1992, when he played Navy SEALs counter-terrorist expert Casey Ryback in Under Siege. However, On Deadly Ground and Under Siege 2, Dark Territory were less successful at the box office. During the latter half of the 1990s, Seagal starred in 3 more theatrical films and the direct-to-video film The Patriot. Since that time, with the exception of Exit Wounds and Half Past Dead, his career has shifted almost entirely to direct-to-video productions. From 1998 to 2014, Seagal appeared in a total of 27 of these. At the age of 58, he returned to prominence as Torres in the 2010 film Machete, his first widely released film since 2002. Intermittently between 2009 and 2013, he filmed 3 seasons of his reality show Steven Seagal, Lawman, which depicted Seagal performing his duties as a reserve deputy sheriff in Jefferson Parish, Louisiana and Maricopa County, Arizona. He also created and starred in 2 seasons of the undercover police drama series True Justice between 2011 and 2012. Seagal is an accomplished guitarist, having released 2 studio albums, and performed on a number of film scores. He has worked with many famous musicians, including Stevie Wonder and Tony Rebel. As a businessman, Seagal has undertaken many ventures. He is estimated to be worth anywhere from $5–16 million. In 1997, he began working closely with Young Living on a line of therapeutic oil products. As the founder of Steven Seagal Enterprises, he began to market his own energy drink, Lightning Bolt, in 2005. In 2013, he began representing the Russian firearms manufacturer ORSIS, appearing in promotional campaigns. In addition to his professional achievements, Seagal is known as an environmentalist and animal rights activist, and is a supporter of the 14th Dalai Lama Tenzin Gyatso. He is also known for his outspoken political views and for his friendship with Vladimir Putin. Seagal once referred to Putin as one of the great living world leaders. Early life. Seagal was born in Lansing, Michigan, where he lived until he was 5 years old, when his family moved to California. His mother, Patricia, was a medical technician, and his father, Samuel Seagal, was a high school math teacher. His mother was of English, German, and Dutch ancestry and his father was Jewish. In a Russian interview, Seagal stated that he had a Mongolian grandfather. His parents relocated to Fullerton, California, where Seagal attended Buena Park High School in Buena Park. Aikido. At the age of 13, Seagal lied about his age and got a job as a dishwasher at a restaurant named The Wagon Wheel. One of the cooks at the restaurant was a Japanese Shotokan karate expert and noticed Seagal moved very quickly around the kitchen. He taught Seagal the basics of karate. Seagal began training in Aikido under Master Harry Kiyoshi Ishisaka, founder of the Orange County Aikido School in 1964. Seagal considers him to have been the most important martial arts teacher in his life. Seagal moved to Japan at some point between the ages of 19 and 21 with his father, who was visiting for military purposes, and met karate masters and decided to remain in Japan. He received his first Dan degree under the direction of Koichi Tohei. He continued to train in Aikido as a student of Shiseki Abe, Tohei, Kisaburo Osawa, Hiroshi Isayama and the second Doshu Kishomaru Yushiba. He attained a 7th Dan degree in Shiin in Aikido. He also holds black belts in Karate, Judo and Kendo and became the first foreigner to operate an Aikido dojo in Japan. After returning to California in 1974, Seagal met Miyako Fujitani, an Aikido instructor teaching in Los Angeles. He returned with her to her native Japan in 1975, where they married. When Seagal's father-in-law, also an Aikido instructor, retired, Seagal became the new head of the organization known as Tenshin Aikido in Juso, Osaka City. Seagal is known by his students as Take Sensei. When Seagal left his dojo in Osaka, his then-wife Miyako became the caretaker of the dojo, which has continued to the present day. Seagal initially returned to Taos, New Mexico, with his student Craig Dunn, where they opened a dojo. Although Seagal spent much of his time pursuing other ventures. After another period in Japan, Seagal returned to the U.S. in 1983 with senior student Haruo Matsuoka. They opened an Aikido dojo, initially in North Hollywood, California, but later moved it to the city of West Hollywood. Seagal left Matsuoka in charge of the dojo, which he ran until the two parted ways in 1997. He has helped train Brazilian mixed martial artists Anderson Silva and Lyoto Machida. Silva, who is the former UFC middleweight champion, went on to knock out Vitor Belfort with a kick in the fight at UFC 126 in February 2011. And Machida also credited him for helping him perfect the front kick that he used to knock out Randy Couture at UFC 129 in May 2011. Hollywood career. 1980s 1990s. In 1987, Seagal began work on his first film, Above the Law, with director Andrew Davis and reportedly as a favor to a former Aikido student, the agent Michael Ovitz. Ovitz took Seagal to Warner Brothers to put on an Aikido demonstration and the executives were impressed by him and offered him several scripts. Seagal turned them down but agreed to write what would become Above the Law. Following its success, Seagal made 3 more movies, Hard to Kill, Marked for Death, and Out for Justice, that were box office hits, making him an action hero. Later, he achieved wider, mainstream success in 1992 with the release of Under Siege. That film reunited Seagal with director Andrew Davis, and was a blockbuster in the US and abroad, grossing $156.4 million worldwide. Seagal hosted the April 20, 1991 episode of the late-night variety show Saturday Night Live, which aired as the 18th episode of the 16th season. Cast member David Spade regarded Seagal as the show's worst host during Spade's time there. Spade and co-star Tim Meadows cite Seagal's humorlessness, his ill treatment of the show's cast and writers, and his refusal to do a Hans and Franz sketch because that skit's titular characters stated that they could beat up Seagal. Seagal was never invited back to the show following that episode. Meadows commented, "He didn't realize that you can't tell somebody they're stupid on Wednesday and expect them to continue writing for you on Saturday." The cast and crew's difficulties with Seagal were later echoed on air by producer Lorne Michaels during guest host Nicolas Cage's monologue in the September 28, 1992 season 18 premiere. When Cage worried that he would do so poorly that the audience would regard him as the biggest jerk who's ever been on the show, Michaels replied, No, that would be Steven Seagal." Seagal directed On Deadly Ground. This film, in which he also starred, emphasized environmental and spiritual themes, signaling a break with his previous persona as a genre-ready inner-city cop. The film featured Michael Caine as well as R. Lee Ermey and Billy Bob Thornton in minor supporting roles. On Deadly Ground was poorly received by film critics, but despite many critics denouncing Seagal's long environmental speech in the film, Seagal considers it to have been one of the most important and relevant moments in his career. Seagal filmed a sequel to one of his most successful films, Under Siege, titled Under Siege 2, Dark Territory, and cop drama The Glimmer Man. In 1996, he had a role in the Kurt Russell film Executive Decision, in which he played a special ops soldier who only appears in the film's first 45 minutes. He subsequently made another environmentally conscious film, Fire Down Below, wherein he was an EPA agent fighting industrialists dumping toxic waste in the Kentucky hills, but the movie was commercially unsuccessful. This film ended his original multi-picture contract with Warner Brothers. Direct-to-video work the next year, Seagal made The Patriot, another environmental thriller which was his first direct-to-video release in the United States. Seagal produced this film with his own money, and the film was shot on location on and near his farm in Montana. After producing Prince of Central Park, Seagal returned to cinema screens with the release of Exo Wounds in March 2001. The film had fewer martial arts scenes than Seagal's previous films, but it was a commercial success, taking almost $80 million worldwide. However, he was unable to capitalize on this success, and his next two projects were both critical and commercial failures. The movie Ticker, co-starring Tom Sizemore and Dennis Hopper, was filmed in San Francisco before Exo Wounds, and went straight to DVD. Half Past Dead, starring rap star Ja Rule, made less than $20 million worldwide. All of the films Seagal has made since the latter half of 2001 have been released direct-to-video in North America, with some theatrical releases to other countries around the world. Seagal is credited as a producer and sometimes a writer on many of these DTV movies, which include Black Dawn, Belly of the Beast, Out of Reach, Submerged, Kill Switch, Urban Justice, Pistol Whipped, Against the Dark, Driven to Kill, A Dangerous Man, Born to Raise Hell, and The Keeper, a movie released in Japan 15 weeks earlier than the United States. Returned to the big screen and television work in 2009, A&E Network premiered the reality television series, Steven Seagal, Lawman, focusing on Seagal as a deputy in Louisiana. In 2010, Seagal appeared in his first theatrically released film in nearly a decade, as the main villain in Robert Rodriguez's Machete. In 2011, he produced and starred in a 13-episode television series entitled True Justice. It was renewed for a second season on Riel's channel in 2012. In the UK, True Justice has been repackaged as a series of DVD movies, with each disc editing together 2 episodes, themes and motifs. Many of Seagal's films share unique elements which have become characteristic of his body of work. His characters often have an elite past affiliation with the CIA, Special Forces or Black Ops. His characters differ from those of other action movie icons by virtue of their near invulnerability. They almost never face any significant physical threat, easily overpowering any opposition and never facing bodily harm or even temporary defeat. A notable exception is 2010's Machete, which features Seagal in a rare villainous role. Seagal's films frequently reflect aspects of his personal life. His music appears in several of his films, as does his fluency in other languages and religion. His past as an Aikido teacher is also incorporated into several films, for example Above the Law or Shadow Man, where he is seen giving an Aikido demonstration. Several of his films also feature prominent political messages, most notably the environmentalism evident in On Deadly Ground, which ends with a lengthy speech in which Seagal accuses Big Business of rampant environmental degradation. Big Business is primarily responsible for destroying the water we drink, the air we breathe and the food we eat. They have no care for the world they destroy, only for the money they make in the process. They basically control the legislation, and, in fact, they control the law. They influence the media so that they can control our minds. They have made it a crime to speak out for ourselves, and if we do so we're called conspiracy nuts, and we're laughed at. We have to force these companies to operate safely and responsibly, and with all our best interests in mind. In 2008, author and critic Verne published Seagalogy, a work which examines Seagal's filmography using the framework of auteur theory. The book divides Seagal's filmography into different chronological eras, with distinct thematic elements. The book was updated in 2012 to include more recent films and Seagal's work on the reality TV show Steven Seagal, Lawman. Other ventures. Music. In addition to acting and Aikido, Seagal also plays the guitar, and his songs have been featured in several of his movies. In 2005, he released his first album, Songs from the Crystal Cave, which has a mix of pop, world, country and blues music. It features duets with Tony Rebel, LT, Stitchie, Lady Saw, and Stevie Wonder. The soundtrack to Seagal's 2005 film Into the Sun features several songs from the album. One of his album tracks, Girl It's Alright, was also released as a single in parts of the world alongside an accompanying music video created for it. Seagal's second album, titled Mojo Priest, was released in April 2006. Subsequently, he spent summer 2006 touring the United States and Europe with his band, Thunderbox, in support of the album. Law enforcement work. Seagal has been a reserve deputy chief in the Jefferson Parish, Louisiana Sheriff's Office. In the late 1980s, after teaching the deputies martial arts, unarmed combat and marksmanship, proving that he is an expert in all of these skills, longtime Sheriff Harry Lee was so impressed he asked Seagal to join the force. Seagal owns a second home in Louisiana and spends several months there every year. According to the show, Seagal graduated from a police academy in Los Angeles over 20 years ago and has a certificate from Peace Officer Standards and Training, an organization that accredits California police officers. However, post officials in California and Louisiana have no record of Seagal being certified, and Seagal's rank in Louisiana is ceremonial. In November 2008, A&E announced that they had begun taping Steven Seagal, Lawman, which follows his work in the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office. The series premiered on A&E on December 2, 2009. Seagal stated that, "I've decided to work with A&E on this series now because I believe it's important to show the nation all the positive work being accomplished here in Louisiana, to see the passion and commitment that comes from the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office in this post-Katrina environment." The series premiere drew 3.6 million viewers, ranking as best season opener for any original A&E series ever. On April 14, 2010, the series was suspended by Jefferson Parish Sheriff Newell Normand due to a sexual trafficking lawsuit filed against Seagal. The suit was later dropped. A&E resumed the show for the second season, which began on October 6, 2010. In February 2011, A&E announced that the series would begin production on Season 3 episodes, with a change of location from Louisiana to Maricopa County, Arizona. 2 episodes were scheduled to be aired beginning on January 4, 2012. The episodes were announced by A&E, who created Facebook page for the series and listed in the TV guide. Shortly before the episodes were to be aired, the web and Facebook pages about the series were removed. A&E made no announcements about the sudden suspension of Season 3 or whether there would be a third season. It was announced on May 16, 2013, that the third season would air on Reels starting in January 2014. Episodes from the first 2 seasons began airing on June 6, 2013. Season 3 premiered on January 2, 2014. Business ventures. In 1997, a company called Young Living Essential Oils announced it was working closely with Seagal on a line of therapeutic oil products. The company claimed that Seagal had also allowed them to use his Montana ranch as an additional site to grow the plants used to distill Young Living's essential oils. As of 2015, the company does not mention Seagal or any products co-created with him on its official website. In 2005, Seagal Enterprises began to market an energy drink known as Steven Seagal's Lightning Bolt. In the press material, Seagal claimed, "I have traveled the world creating this drink. There is none better that I know." In 2009, his official Twitter profile released a tweet promising, "Lightning Bolt will be back soon," but as of 2015 the official website is defunct and it appears that production has been discontinued. Seagal has also marketed an aftershave called Scent of Action, and a range of knives and weapons. In 2013, Steven Seagal joined newly formed Russian firearms manufacturer ORSIS, representing the company in both a promotional capacity as well as lobbying for the easement of U.S. import restrictions on Russian sporting firearms. It was also announced he would work with the company to develop a signature long-range rifle known provisionally as ORSIS by Steven Seagal.